So welcome to Medboswana Meditation Center. I will take a few minutes to brief you about what is happening at this place. But beforehand, I would like to get to know you a little bit, if you don't mind. So from which countries are you? Starting from you. Are you?
We're from Spain.
Spain. Anybody else from Spain? You're the only person. Which city?
My hometown is Murcia, that is in the southeast of Spain.
Right. I've been to Spain once. It's a beautiful country. Barcelona.
Oh, in the north.
Yeah. And what about you?
Germany.
Germany. I've been there twice. Munich, Frankfurt. You from?
Near Hamburg.
Hamburg. Yeah, I've been to Hamburg also. And anybody else from any other country? Everybody from Germany. And you?
Austria,
Austria.
near Germany.
Yes. I have missed that country. So I'm really sorry. It will be my next, probably, if it is possible. So, how do you find Sri Lanka? How do you find Sri Lanka, your visit here?
Beautiful.
Is it so? So is this group also for volunteer services? In which fields, if I may ask? Medicine or social services? You?
It's education.
Education? So you teach somewhere here?
Yeah, more or less. It's kindergarten at the moment.
Okay,
It's not that much teaching. It's more like just therapy.
right. And what about you?
I'm in the turtle program.
What is that?
Turtle.
Turtle conservation. Okay. And any doctors? And how about you?
I'm also in the social care in the kindergarten.
Right, okay. So thank you very much for coming to Sri Lanka, especially at the time of very difficulty. Your voluntary service and your service to the country and to the people over here is mostly welcome, and I humbly give my regards for you on behalf of our center as well. And so this is a mindfulness center, and it's a bit different from other centers just because we promote activity-based mindfulness. It's like we are so active throughout the day. If you are familiar about Zen monasteries, have you heard about Zen monasteries? It's a Japanese type of a doctrine in Buddhism. So we have incorporated certain aspects of Zen monasteries to this center, where we live like a commune. We try to be self-sustained. We help each other without depending from the outside world. Try to have a very quiet, decent, harmonious life. So therefore we have different activities. Everybody who resides here voluntarily provide their service as you guys are doing. Now it has become our entire lifestyle. So that is the gist of what is happening here. So generally what I prefer is now to have a discussion based on the question from the forum. So if you have any questions regarding the philosophy of Buddhism, or if you are unaware about anything, it doesn't matter, you have to tell me, then you won't have any questions. By any chance, if somebody has any question, you can ask, but if not, we can, yeah, please.
So a typical day, what activities do you do?
All right, that's a good question. We wake up 4 o'clock in the morning. So 4:30, there's a chanting session, which everyone has to participate. There are 2 events where everyone has to come to one place. So we chant for half an hour, from 4:30 to 5 o'clock. Then afterward, 5 to 6, if you prefer, if you want, you can do seated meditation. Or there is a reading room, you can read something while you enjoy a cup of coffee. And then 6:30, the breakfast. After the breakfast, we allocate a little bit of time to clean the premises. We have distributed work. It's a huge area, more than 35 acres. Now currently we have about 200 people residentially here. So if we have time, we can have a walk around as well. So there are two events happening in the morning at 4:30. The monks and the lay volunteers who are willing to be monks are engaged in chanting, and there's another group of 150 youngsters. They engage in yoga sessions. So every day they have a yoga session here for 1.5 hours. And then after the breakfast, as I said, we do cleaning in the premises. Then we have allocated people into different groups to engage in different activities. As an example, cooking is one department where you have to cook all 3 meals, the morning, lunch, and the dinner for 200 people. So means 600 meals altogether for the day. So we voluntarily, happily, we help each other. It's not that one person is cooking. There's about 10-15 people involved in that process. And also we have our organic cultivations, fruits and vegetables. We try to grow our own fruits and vegetables as much as possible, but we haven't reached to the sustainability yet. Mushroom. And we have other economic crops as well: tea, rubber, coconut, cinnamon. And we do some products out of it: cinnamon oil, cinnamon tea. You will enjoy a cup of cinnamon tea after this session. So those are the different activities that we have. So during the day, then the lunch break, and afterward there's a dinner. At 6:30, there's another chanting session in the evening where everyone else get together and talk about the issues and the management, take the management decisions and do chanting. And that is the end of the day for generally for a resident here. So if you're willing to join, you can also join the commune. Every service is free of charge. We don't charge anything at all. This center is purely run on donations. Any more questions? Yes.
For how long have you been here?
Now more than 6 years.
And prior to that, what did you do?
I was a lawyer. I practiced in Colombo, especially in commercial law.
What made you want to take a step or make the decision, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, when I was practicing law, I did quite well and achieved many things. As I said, I have traveled many countries. That was my hobby. So then I realized there should be something other than achieving materialistic things in the life, where I achieved many of the materialistic things an average person in my age could have. Then I wanted something beyond that, a happiness beyond the materialistic world, where it will not be interrupted by the changes and external environment, an inner peace which is not touched by anything from the outside world. So that is why I was always in a constant search throughout my life. And once I achieved the materialistic things, that the process became a bit rapid, since I'm now satisfied with. Then I wanted to achieve something spiritually. So that made me to join this commune and to live here thereafter. There are a lot of people like me, engineers, doctors, well-educated, highly achieved professionals here in this commune, who has gone through the same, I think. Yes.
What is the process that we have to do for being a monk from the beginning to the end?
Yes. Now, the most difficult task is not wearing this robe. It is like that your mind should be a monk first in order to ordain. That means the people in the outside world are always in a constant struggle. It's a rat race. They have expectations, they have goals, and they go after it without any pause. And it's a constant struggle. So the qualification a person to join a commune like this is that he should ensure that his expectations towards materialistic achievements are less. Otherwise, it's difficult to stay in a place like this. If you have a lot of ambitions in your life, if your mind is so fast. So what we do is we give them a time, like an apprenticing period for a person, any person, a lay person, to come and stay with us as long as they want, until they figure out whether they are ready to take this responsibility. So if somebody is not willing to take the responsibility, even that doesn't matter. They can be here with us as a lay person as long as they want. But within the, as like that, we have a prescribed schedule for the day. So everyone has to go through that. That's all. Yes.
Is there a specific teaching you follow?
Yes, we follow our mind. That is our teaching. Our mind is the teacher. So then that's a good question. From there I will take you to the spirituality of this place. Now, Buddhism is something which helps people to understand the chemistry of the mind. It's an art of living. So when you adopt that art into your life, you will be a constant observer of your mind. So your mind itself become the teacher, and your path itself become your teacher. So what do you observe? Now, in the first place, why do we need a spirituality? Why do people search for spirituality? It is because we feel some pain in our mind, in our thinking pattern. We undergo stress, anxiety, depression, those kind of things. We struggle in life mentally. So therefore people want something to achieve bliss in the mind. Then we have to investigate, why are we suffering from our mind? We suffer from our mind because we don't know the chemistry behind it. Now let's say you said you're doing teaching, right? What are the subjects that you have mastered? None. Okay. I mean, well, now let's say as an example, if somebody, I give you a paper, a math paper, right? It has a question from calculus. Have you heard of calculus? Right. So it's difficult, right? Sometimes for some people it's difficult. Now you know nothing about calculus. Now what will happen? If you receive a paper, an exam paper, with questions from calculus, and you know nothing about it, what will happen? You will fail in that exam, and you will panic, you will feel fear, you might sweat, right? All those things can happen. What is the reason for that? What is the reason for your failure? You did not know calculus. You did not know calculus. You are unaware of calculus. Similarly, for any discipline, if you do not know the basics of it, you will fail in that. Similarly, even in your mind, if you do not know the basics of what is happening inside the mind, you will fail in life, because in life you have to use the mind. Your entire life is an examination provided by your mind. Just think and see. It's always the mind which gives you the questions and problems, and he asks or she asks for answers. And you know nothing about it. So obviously you are going to fail. So at that point, spirituality comes. Spirituality is another discipline where it helps you to understand the facts, the chemistry, the way the mind behaves. How? Through mindfulness. You have to be an observer of your mind. Observe what is happening without struggling with that. When you observe your emotions, when you're angry, observe the anger. What is happening to my body and mind with this particular emotion? Then you get enlightened about that emotion. You get all the chemistry, all the secrets about that particular emotion. Then you are enlightened on the fact of anger. Likewise, there are a lot of emotions in our life which we are struggle with. Lust, envy, greed, what else? The emotions that we struggle. All the bad emotions that people categorize. We struggle with those things. So if you can get to know through observation of the emotion, observation of the mind, if you can get to know, get yourself enlightened about each and every emotion, ultimately you will become enlightened. That's it. There is no magic in that. Now, this is a very age-old Asian science. Since it has written by Asians, you know now, have you watched Hindi movies, Bollywood movies? They are so unrealistic, right? It's like magical. Because the Asians do like to add things up, to spice things a little bit. If you eat Sri Lankan food, you will feel that there are a lot of spices. We don't want to have a vegetable as it is. We want to put spices. So even for a story, when a movie director creates a Hollywood movie, they don't want to be so real in it. They want to add spices and make it more colorful. So similarly, this spiritual science, people have added things up and spiced it up. And then most Westerners think it is so unnatural and it is so unbelievable. It is not. If you take the spice out, you will find the raw material. It is a science. There is no magic in it. Once you get to know how your mind works, in the next point onwards, you are not struggling with that. Now, as an example, I will tell you. Now, you are facing an exam. People generally have an exam fear. They are so afraid of exam, some people. For weeks, they get constipation issues and a lot of different things, right? Headaches, anxiety, attacks. So if you know what's happening in the mind, a person who is aware about what is happening in the mind, he will realize, now I am not yet facing the exam. The exam is after 1 week's time. But from now onwards, I am afraid of it. What is the reason? My mind is creating a dream about the exam. That it will be difficult, I won't achieve, I will fail. Constantly, every day and night, just before the exam, my mind is creating a dream and making me to believe it is real, and I am getting frightened over it. But it's just a dream. It's not the exam. But every day, just before the exam, you're frightened. Who frights you? Not the exam, your own mind. But before that, if you had a particular spiritual practice to observe what is happening in the mind, you won't feel the same before the next exam. You know, at any time when you feel fear, this is just my mind making this. Just before your next job interview, you feel so tensed. Then you will get to know, this is not the interview that makes me frightened. It is my mind which makes me frightened. Why should I worry? That is its job. It's used to do that. I don't have to worry about it. You will only get that strength in your mind if you know what is happening in that. To know what is happening in that, you have to observe it. That is mindfulness. Are you clear? So it's very easy.
So you would say you don't have like kind of bad days?
Me? My mind has bad days. Then I observe it. It's just a dream. It just creates and makes me to believe it is bad. Now I have realized it. So whatever it creates, I can identify. So I am not worried. Let it be. You cannot change the mind. Your mind is a natural phenomenon. Please understand that. It's a natural phenomenon. There is something special about the nature. We cannot change it. We may be able to do a temporary patch up, but you cannot use your bare hands to stop sea waves. You cannot use the human technology to stop the sunrise tomorrow. It's a natural phenomenon. It's nature. Mind is also a natural phenomenon. There is a way that it is happening. It will happen accordingly. What we have to do is, we have to realize it. When it rains, there's no point of complaining it's raining. You can't stop it. It's a natural phenomenon. You just have to accept it's raining. Likewise, if you have a bad day, you have to understand there's no point of complaining about it. It's like the rain. It's the bad day. Accept it. So once you get enlightened about your mind, you will accept everything, every emotion in your mind without, irrespective of considering it as a good emotion or a bad emotion. You will accept everything. Do you understand? Yes.
How long will it stay for you to get thinking or like
How long would it take? Are you so much of a hurry? It's beyond time. It's like this. It depends on how much you can dedicate to that. Right? If you are dedicating only 1% of your life for spirituality, you will achieve 1% of the fruits. If you can increase up to 2%, you will enjoy 2%. But believe me, that is more than enough. But what if you can kind of a sacrifice, maybe you can devote your entire life to spirituality? You will bear the total of it. It's like this. Let's say your mind has 100 secrets. 100 secrets, hundreds ways of acting. And you are unaware of any of it. Then there are 100 chances that you can be upset with future events. Because your mind is used to play 100 tricks. And you are unaware of anything. So there are 100 points that your mind can make you upset. But after going through mindfulness, you investigate 10 secrets. 10 secrets are revealed to you. So thereafter, those 10 tricks will never create trouble inside you. But 100 minus 10, 90 left. There are 90 chances that you can be upset. How much the secrets that you have identified, you will receive the benefits out of it. But for the things that you have not uncovered, you will still struggle. That's the thing. But you don't have to worry about it. If you can, if you have quite wisdom, you will achieve more. If you have quite courage, you will achieve more. If you have more dedication, you will achieve more. And it's like this. This dedication is not something that you have to dedicate your time. It's within the 24 hours of a day, how long have you been aware of the things? It's not that you're forcefully looking at it. The next moment when you face a difficulty, now let's say if you're staying in a hostel or a hotel, when you go back there, you face a moment where let's say you expect your bed to be, the room service to be done properly. There's expectation, right? And when you go back to your room, nothing has done. The room is undone. Then you get upset. So generally what happens? You can scold the room boy or the manager of the hotel and scream, I am not going to pay, or something like. You can do lodge a complaint, or else take your phone and write down, okay, this place is useless, you should never visit this place, I'm going to give 1 star. You can do something like that. That's okay. That's up to you. But when you are reacting that, you should have the wisdom to see what is happening inside me. Why am I angry? Just because my room was not cleaned. What is the reason? You had an expectation to have a clean room. It's okay to have an expectation, but you were too much attached to it. You were too much attached to the result of it, not to the expectation, but to the result. Because when we have an expectation, the result can go both ways. If you expect your room to be cleaned by somebody else, what are the two results possible? It can be clean, either it may not be clean. Those are the two results which you can anticipate. Either it will be cleaned as you ordered, or it may not be. But you are attached to one result only. But there were two options, two opportunities, two results, but you were attached to one. You were only expecting that it should be cleaned as I was told. You never saw there was a chance that it could not have been done. How many reasons that there can be for the person to be absent, so he won't be able to clean it? He may have some family issues. The person who was supposed to clean your room may dead, so he won't there. But you don't see that. Why? You were too much attached to the result of your own expectation. So then, if you observe the mind, you will realize, okay, this is, if I had expectation, the attachment that I had towards the result is the reason for my anger. That is the way that you investigate the mind. So there is no such thing as you have to, give up everything and go somewhere and do this. In your life, how frequently you apply this? If you can frequently apply it, you can reap the benefits as fast as possible. But we are not used to do that. That's the thing. We are always used to complain and pass the ball to others. That's the thing. It's okay, but then now you know that there's another way of looking at the problem as well. Are you clear with that? Yes.
How do you think about removing bad people, like people who do bad things? How do you think about that kind of people?
People who do bad things. There are no person as a good person or a bad person. We are always a mix of it, right? Now, just look at yourself in such a moment. Am I always good? No. Am I always bad? No. Now, there are two options that you can do. When you have a bad person, there's always, if it is possible, you can select whom you deal with, right? But there are sometimes we cannot avoid them, right? That is the most difficult part. There are points that we cannot avoid them. We see them every day. There's no way of chasing them out. Then you look at the good things of him. Because if you always used to look at the bad things that they have done, you will never be able to survive, face his face even. Look at the good things, because there are good things, of course. There is a service that he is also doing, maybe in your household chores or maybe in your job. If he is not there to perform that, it will be your task. So we should be thankful for him, even though he's a very bad person, for doing that task. Think about the most simplest thing which we can acknowledge on him or her. Then it's very easy to live with people with bad qualities. Because we can't choose whom are we going to meet in life. But we can look at the same problem from a different angle, from a different perspective. Take it as a blessing. And there's another, actually, if you meet a bad person in your life, if you are practicing spirituality, that's a good opportunity for you. That is the greatest blessing that you can have. Why? He always makes you upset. So you get more and more chances to investigate what is happening in my mind. Because if you always have lovey-dovey friends, they won't make you upset. You will be spiritually weakened. If you're always surrounded by people who annoys you, treats you in the bad way, makes you upset, you get frequent chances to develop your spirituality. Now, it relates to your first question. You asked me, how long would it take to be spiritually advanced? If you have more bad friends like that, you will achieve spirituality more rapidly than the rest of the world. In spiritual philosophy, we call them as Buddhas. Buddhas are not the one who just preach the path. The people who makes you upset are Buddhas, because they shows a weakness of you. Your unbearable energy, which you call it as anger or something, is a weakness of you. If some person can annoy you by just simple by a word or an action, it is a weakness of you. So they are showing you a weakness, but you're not wise enough to identify it and rectify it. But now you know, because now your ignorance has gone. So you consider the bad people in your life as a blessing thereafter. Actually, to have good people around all the time is a curse. I will tell you a story. This is in some ancient Buddhist script. It says, it's just a story. There was a time in human civilization, it's like eons and eons of years ago, the humans had a very long lifespan. It's, let's say, 1,000 years of lifespan. This is just a story, okay? Now don't ask me how can a person live for 1,000 years. It's just a story. So since the lifespan is so long, it was hardly to see a person with sickness. Hardly to see people with aged people. There was no suffering visible in the society. Everything was provided by nature, food and everything. They were so self-sufficient. This was like a Disney movie, right? Everyone were like Prince Charming and Cinderellas and whatever the other characters are. So there were some spiritual masters who were practicing spirituality at that time. So when they want to curse someone, now what would you say to curse someone? You should break your leg, you should break your neck, you should lose your money. Those are the way the people curse each other, right? But these spiritual masters were cursing each other as, you should get millions of dollars. You should have a twice as long lifespan as others. You should have more gold more than others. Those are the way that they were cursing. In spirituality, the good things that we receive is a curse, because it never helps you to uncover your weakness. If you have all the money to have a luxurious life, that means you think you are so strong. Until your death or until you face a very hardship in your life, you will not even think of spirituality, because you have enough money, you have good friends all the time. But if you find bad friends, bad people in your life, it's like a blessing, because it always constantly shows your weakness, and then you start to search for a what? Cure for that weakness. That is spirituality. You are spiritual. You become spiritual because of the bad people around you. You become spiritual because of those Buddhas around you. You can go and worship him next time. Thanks for making my life so miserable. Thanks. Offer some flowers. He or she who makes your life miserable. What is your experience? Do you have any bad friends? Bad associates, maybe?
I think everyone has sometimes bad friends or just met bad people. So yeah.
So you're blessed. And I can see that you have some injury also. You're so blessed. Don't you have problems? Those are the things which are more interesting, right?
Where did you study?
Uh, in Colombo. Yeah. So I was residing in Colombo. Then I moved here to this commune afterward. Yes.
Is all you're talking about, like, is this Buddhism? Is that the religion?
Buddhism is actually not a religion. Buddhism is just a label. If you're mindful about your mind, if you want to uncover the secrets of it, and if you want to get enlightened about your mind, you can call yourself a Buddhist. It's just a term. It is not only in Buddhism. In every religion, they were talking about this mind aspect. Even in Christianity, even in Hinduism, even in Islam, it was always about mind. But the terms that they used and also the adulterations done by later on when they write the things have made more mystical and magical, right? So Buddhism is a practice. Hinduism, Christianity is always a practice to identify your weakness and correct it. Yes.
Are the women in Roman via Buddhism?
Yes, we have a nuns monastery also here, where the ladies are there. And generally at this time, about 70 ladies are residentially staying with us.
So it's not that common for women to be Buddhism as a man.
Yeah, the numbers are less, but nowadays there is an improvement where even the ladies are also joining the commune. But if you just forget about being a monk or a nun in lay life, mostly the ladies are the people who go in search of spirituality more than men, because I think they suffer a lot with the life more than I think boys. Maybe they are so attached to things. Yes.
Will you also pray at the other religions?
Now we have 2 Muslims residing with us. They have the opportunity to go to the mosque if they want. And unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have a prayer room, but there are a lot of places that they can use as a prayer room. We don't consider them as not in the commune. It's like welcome, because this is an art of living. We don't want to convert anybody. There's no point of converting as well. Now you can do this even back your home. Only you need is a lab. Your mind is the lab. And who are the test subjects? Are the people who makes you uncomfortable. So you don't have to be in a place like this, but the advantage of being in a place like this is that you will be always in this discussion. Because when you go back, there are no much of people who are aware about the mind to be in this discussion. That is why people prefer to come and engage in discussions like this. Now even after this at 4:30, there's another group coming. They are in that search. But because back home, they don't have people to discuss about this. So this is always a two-way approach. You help me, I help you. That is the importance of being in a commune. When we struggle in the mind, we can reveal it to a person who is aware of this science, and they will help you. And back again, when they are in a trouble, they will reveal that to you, then you can help them, vice versa. You help each other to get yourselves enlightened. So you become enlightened as a group. Yes.
What would you say is life about for you?
I didn't get that.
What would you say is life about generally?
Me.
Yeah, for you.
Life. is a collection of incidents which our ignorance shows it as a one stream. Have you seen the way that movie makers create movies? They don't do the first few minutes and go on like that. No? Sometimes they record the last episode first. Then, randomly, with the budget they have and with the to increase the productivity, they do it part by part, not from 1, 2, 3, 4 likewise. Then what happens? The editor collects all those clips and shuffles it accordingly and create one movie. So the life is also like that. It's collection of events. We take it as it a whole and call ourselves as a life. That is the ego. That is the concept of I. It's just an incident. If we can live by the moment, we will escape from that misunderstanding. But when we start to think this collection of events as a one whole stream, we get the notion as I. Thereafter, we cannot live by the moment. We take the previous moment to the next moment. And also we are worried about the future moment in the present moment. When we take the memories of the previous moment and worries about it in the present moment, we call it depression. When we are worried about what is going to happen in the next moment, in the present moment, we call it anxiety. It is all because the notion of I. You don't take it as one single event, you take it as a collection. Now, what is happening here is just one event in your life. And you finished one event. I don't know what you did before this. It is over now. This is another event. And then after this, you will do something else. That's another event. And what is your good name? What is your good name? What is your name? Joshua. So Joshua, if you add up all those events that you did since morning up to now, then you will find Joshua. If you add up each and every moment in your entire life, you will find Joshua. But if you are in this moment, there is no Joshua. That's another secret of the mind. Your mind makes that movie. And then we ignorantly believes it. Your mind is a movie maker. It shows you that dream. Because of our ignorance, we believe it. And then you call yourself as Joshua. I will tell you another secret. Now what makes you Joshua? Your name is the number one. And you said now you're volunteering at the moment and you're a teacher, right? Now there are a lot of identifications that you have given, added up to now to your life to identify you. What makes you different from the person next to you? You think you're handsome, you think you're tall, you think your complexion is good, and you think I'm Joshua, you think you come from this family, and you think I'm from Germany, you think I'm a teacher. All those thinkings are labels. If I give you a piece of paper and ask you to write down an essay over myself, you will list down all the identifications of yourself. That makes Joshua. It's not only you. I also have. My name is Sunanda, and I'm 35 years old, right? Likewise, I live in this center, and I'm a Buddhist monk. I can also write an essay like you. Now, what if both of us let go of all those identifications for a moment? Just give up your name for a moment, not forever. I'm also giving up my name. Your age, your caste, your creed, your country, your profession, everything. You're thinking about your appearance. You're thinking about your ideologies, your political viewpoints, your social viewpoints, your ambitions, how the world should be. All those things, just let go for a moment. I will do the same. Then who are you and who am I? We are one and the same. We are one consciousness. Your identification as Joshua and all the rest of it that you wrote down under the essay of myself took you out from that one consciousness. That is the ego. Once you be an observer of your mind, once you are mindful and advance yourself in spirituality, the epitome would be, the last point would be, you will realize you're just a labeling, you're just an identification. Then you become one. Then you're free from everything. The most difficult thing is not to get yourself free from the bad people around you. The most difficult thing is to free yourself from you. Do you understand? That is what this practice takes you to. That is why it is so celebrated in Asia. Sri Lanka may be economically struggling, but there's a hidden science here in Sri Lanka, this spirituality. From that, this is a lucrative and the most wealthiest country on this planet. We are never poor spiritually. We may not have money to feed our kids next day. I may not have money to have a proper dinner, but spiritually, we are wealthier than many because we know this secret. And you also can know that and propagate it in your country. It is knowing yourself. You are not following anything that I said. You never, I am Sunanda, but do not ever search for Sunanda in you. Search for Joshua. You will find none. Yes.
Can't you get that lost in your moments? Are you still the present?
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear you properly.
Um, because you're so much thinking about your mind, don't you ever like get lost in your mind? Are you still present?
Now, there I have to correct you. You never think about the mind. You observe. I will give you an example. Now this is a tissue. Can you look at this? Just observe it without thinking. If you think, only you will know that this is a tissue. Observe without thinking. You can do that, right? Just be an observer. If you start thinking, you're back again stuck in your mind. We can do this. Just observe. That is the observation I'm talking about. What happens when you observe like that? How do we perceive this universe? We perceive this universe through 6 senses. Everyone is limited to perceive this world through 6 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, the skin, and the mind. From eyes we see, you see all these colors. You hear sounds. You smell the aroma. You taste. You feel the sensation. You can touch. And you can think. So now I'm going to perform a surgery to this entire crowd, right? Now you're perceiving this universe through all these senses. I'm going to make all of you blind. Now you can't see anything. But still the world exists. Why? You can hear, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch, you can think. Then I'm going to make you deaf. You can't see, you can't hear, but still the other senses are working. Now I'm going to make you can't smell hereafter. Then you can't smell the universe, you can't see the universe, you can't hear the universe. Then I'm going to make your tongue numb. You can't taste thereafter. I'm going to cut off your tongue. You can't taste, you can't hear, you can't hear, you can't see, you can't smell. And then I'm going to give some medicine or something. Now you are totally numb. You can't touch, you can't feel through your body also. But still the world exists. How? As you said, you're thinking. Oh, what happened to my senses? Oh, I can't hear anything, I can't see anything, I can't taste anything. You're still thinking, but the world still exists. So you're still perceiving the universe through your thinking. All the other 5 senses are gone. Are you clear? Now I'm going to perform the last and most important surgery. I'm going to switch off that thinking. What's there now? Where's the universe? Gone. If you want the universe back again, switch on the mind. Everything starts back to normal. So who creates this universe for you? As long as your mind works, the universe is there. Do we have more questions? I think that's enough, no? For the day. I will share some more information with you. We have a YouTube channel where we have done a lot of discussions like this. Today, I think I revealed a lot of secrets, more than 5 or 6 secrets about the mind, which you are supposed to investigate by your own. Now, this is only a knowledge that you got. If you be an observer of your mind, these secrets will be revealed to you. Then it won't be a knowledge, then it will become an experience. Once a knowledge become an experience, thereafter you don't want to believe. It is your own experience. That is enlightenment. Once you experience it, then you're enlightened. Okay? So, I will share the link to the YouTube channel where you can leisurely watch those videos and get yourself more knowledgeable on different secrets. And don't do anything back at home other than watching those things. You will realize when you meet a bad person next day, these words will start to work inside you. You can scold him, but still you will realize what is happening. It will help you to spiritually advance. So by any chance, if you feel like you want to dedicate your entire life to spirituality or some portion of it, you're mostly welcome to come back to Sri Lanka and join us. And spend a couple of days or a week or a month or the life with us.